Hey everyone, Value Add Mike here today to give a quick update on our 36 unit in Tennessee. For those who don't know, my name is Mike Taravella, Value Add Mike, and me and my business partners manage over $100 million in commercial real estate, specifically in the multifamily sector. And today I want to give an update on our 36 unit and share what we should have done earlier is switching property managers. And I know it sounds super easy after the fact, but the start of the year we were 74% occupied. I was doing the accounting, the marketing, project managing, all of the renovations, and handling all of the resident communications because our property manager wasn't doing any of those things. And I understand as an owner, we want to make sure we're having safe, clean housing. To our investors, we want to make sure we're being a fiduciary with their capital, treating it as if our own. So it's handling the day-to-day operations. But my goal is not to create a vertically integrated company, especially off only 36 units, because it's a lot of work. Not saying it's not worthy, but if we have to get into the weeds, we will. But that's not our highest and best use of time. So we recently switched property management companies, and I wish we'd have done it sooner, but we had to at the time just to make sure we had enough money for renovations, reserves, and to protect our investors' capital. And so since then, we had a resident event to symbolically pass the torch to to show our residents, hey, this is our new property managers. Here's what's in, what's allowed, what's not allowed, and to really just pass the torch and also make sure that our residents know who our property managers were. Since then, we quickly began renovating units and turn up to a newer standard, and it was actually a cheaper option than what we were doing before because our previous property manager didn't have enough context in the area. And now that we have a better turn quality, we're actually getting higher rents. So we went from getting leasing up 1,300 a couple months ago to now getting 1,450 plus on the 2-bed townhomes. And the turns are happening quicker. I'm not as heavily involved. Still involved, but there goes a difference between reviewing Lowe's bills every other day to just recapturing at month end and making sure we're operating. So renovations were good. We've been handling repairs. We had window replacements. We replaced the mailboxes because they were half of them had lids, and we quickly renovated that. And I think just our property managers taking swift action, introducing themselves, and making those renovations on the front end has been super helpful to our residents to show they care and also communicate. And so for us as owners, that's super helpful because it allows us to go back to our highest and best use. Obviously, for me, doing the numbers, because if I'm managing turns, I can do that, but generally I do it from a financial perspective and not a day-to-day operations perspective. Happy to do so when we absolutely need to, but now that we have a new property management company, it saves me a ton of time, saves a ton of headache in terms of just making sure we're operating as smoothly as possible because systems are the key to scale and growth. And we just didn't have that with our previous partnership. And one of our core values is world-class partnerships. And I feel we have the right team and the right people in place so we can operate the property forward. So with that being said, we went from 74% occupied to start the year to 94% occupied now. Our collections went from around 70% economically to we're 95%. And we had no delinquent residents this past month. And the only thing we didn't have was 2 vacant units. And so with that transition, the learning lessons we had were hold the asset. As the asset manager, we have to hold our team accountable, not just on the numbers, because yes, the numbers are very critical, but if the day-to-day operations aren't getting done, we should have made this change sooner, and just making sure that we have the confidence and just having more and more people to lean on. If one vendor isn't working, you need several different options. So we've been really honing in on just investing in areas that are within the Nashville proper area, where this property is located is 45 minutes out, so just outside that cusp. But we want to make sure we have options in terms of vendors, in terms of managers, because anything can happen in this business and anyone's replaceable. So you just got to make sure you're continuing to meet and have the best contacts for you and your investors to make sure you have the most funds available at the end of the month so you can pay them. So if this video gave you any value, please like, comment, subscribe, share to a friend. And until then, we'll see you next time.